Hey guys, today's going to be a little bit different. I know thus far I've been doing a plethora of true crime and paranormal type readings, and don't worry, those will absolutely continue. And one thing I promised my Patreon subscribers is whatever videos I would post there, I would not post here. Because I want to ensure that the money that they are providing me each month, which I am most grateful for, in subscribing to my Patreon, they get exclusive content. But I wanted to take a moment today to talk a bit about Samhain, or as we colloquially know it as Halloween. In pagan belief systems, and even when I started my channel, I started delving into the historical and educational aspects of paganism, which is something that I have always enjoyed speaking on and educating people about. But this is a very special and holy holiday to the pagan community. I know, but by all intents and purposes, people look at Halloween and look at it as a time to dress up and, go around asking for candy. Historically, dressing up was always a way to protect people so that when the spirits wandered the earth, they would not be able to tell that there were humans there to prey upon. Sorry, it is a very dry atmosphere in here today. Samhain is a Celtic holiday, which means no matter what you call it, this holiday was appropriated from the Gaelic and Celtic community. Now, there are other cultures like that, primarily of Mexican descent, who celebrate Dia de los Muertos, which has very similar aspects to it as well. But by and large, today I wanted to try to do a form of reading that I've never attempted before, so we will see if this is going to be successful or a major flop. And the reading I'm going to attempt to do today is, what do our ancestors want us to know at this time? Now, Samhain actually has two dates. In the northern hemisphere, where most of humanity lives, Samhain is from October 31st to November 1st. In Christianity, November 1st is All Saints' Day. In the southern hemisphere, Samhain actually occurs at the end of April to May 1st, which I believe in the northern hemisphere is about when Beltane is? May Day, I think? Yeah. So anyway, I am going to attempt this reading. I wasn't originally planning on lighting this candle, and I will let you know that it does make a crackling sound. Something's just drawing me to do that right now, so I am. as a lovely gift I got from my dear friend, unfortunately random. So with all of this random introduction, let us see what kind of information the ancestors would like us to know. Right off the bat, this time is about self-reflection. Solitude isn't just about being alone necessarily. It's about taking time by yourself to pay respect to the ancestors that came before you. Most of us, when we look at our ancestors, we look at the immediate family who has passed away. But our ancestors, the blood of our ancestors, carries back all the way into the dawn of humanity. We carry within all of us the blood of every single human that came before us. I know when I originally did a ancestry DNA kit, the first report I got also included how much Neanderthal DNA I carry within me today, which I found very fascinating, not just because the science went back that far, because it really does give you that realization that even our most ancient of ancestors, who they were, what they believed, the things that were important to them, we still carry within us today in modern society. And you would be surprised at the connection that brings, and you would be surprised at how even the smallest drop or smallest particles of our DNA can still connect us so deeply with our ancient past and every ancestor from since then. So this time of Samhain, Halloween, it shouldn't just be one of celebration, and it shouldn't just be one of parties, not that we're doing much of that this year, or going around and getting candy, not that people are doing much of that this year. But it should be also a time of self-reflection, and not only honoring the ancestors we remember, but those we may not even know have existed. And paying respect to them. I know for certain people, they consider this day to be one of evil. Not all, but there are certain people and certain traditions that look at Halloween as a bad day. With the temptation card, I know that's the devil in regular tarot. But I get more of the sense in this aspect something I never noticed about this card until right now. Here we have a very devilish figure pointing to a key with light coming out of the top. And this is actually what is taking the foreground to me today. Samhain is the time of the year when the veil between our world and the world of the dead is at its most thin. When the dead walk among us, not just the dead, but any sort of spirits. And I fully intend on starting that series that people seem to show an interest in regarding the different types of spirits that exist soon. Samhain is the pagan New Year. So every year we look at the annual year, and people largely look at December 31st as the new year leading into January 1st. Well, for the pagan community, it's October 31st to November 1st, if you're in the Northern Hemisphere. And this time is not only meant for reflection and introspection and honoring your ancestors, but it's also a time of cleansing. It's a time of connecting and ensuring that your protections that you have for yourself and your home and so forth are strong, so that you don't accidentally welcome something in your home that you don't want there. So remember, right now is a time when we as a society are becoming more and more sensitive to things that have previously been hidden. Be careful not to give a key to things you do not want. This is also a time not only of respecting your ancestors, but it can also be a time of making connections with spirits. And for certain pagans who really delve into the spiritual aspect of things, whether it be in divination, some people might use this time to do scrying. Others may go through the effort of covering up all mirrors within their home because mirrors are considered a portal, as is water. But you can also take this time that if you are someone who is particularly attuned with the spirits, to communicate with those that you work with all the time. And of course, this is not something I recommend doing carte blanche or randomly. Certain pagans are drawn to the Fae world, so they may communicate with brownies that may be in their home, or other Fae spirits. Other people may decide to work with saints in certain root work and hoodoo traditions. because they are so interconnected with Christianity a lot of the time. They may choose this time to speak to certain deities or saints in order to develop a relationship with them or partnership. I know personally I started some workings on Wednesday doing just that with a saint because a girl needs some help. But this is an appropriate time to start that sort of practice. If there's a certain Orisha or deity or saint that you've been drawn to work with, now's the time, a very good time with the very thin veil to start that process of building that relationship. You'll be more successful starting it at this time because of the thin veil. But also do remember that when you start that, to make sure you have protections up in place so that when you call upon them, nothing else comes in. Okay? Make sure that when you do these kinds of workings, recognition and reward isn't just for you, it is also for the spirit that you may be working with, or deity. Now is a particularly important time to give offerings, not just to deities or spirits you may be working with, but to your ancestors as well. Many pagans will set up an altar for their ancestors in order to pay respect. But in addition to that altar, they will often leave out food or drink, something that, especially if they're trying to get in contact with a particular ancestor, they may leave out that person's favorite food or favorite drink of some kind in order to draw them in order to speak with them or consult with them. Same thing can be said for working with deities and certain spirits, but there is something in Celtic tradition called a dumb supper. And yes, D-U-M-B, as in dumb. Where the food that they put out is strictly meant for the ancestors. Many have reported food going missing or drink appearing to be drunk as a sign to the humans that their ancestors or the deities that they're requesting assistance from are present. At the end of the dumb supper, or at the end of this time, what they then do is they take the remnant food or drink and they dispose of it outside as a offering. You don't throw it away in the garbage, you put it outside. With the waiting game, if you are just starting off this process of paying respect to your ancestors or building this form of relationship with a deity or saint or spirit in some way, it is important to know that they are not at your beck and call and will not come at the snap of your fingers. You are building a relationship with them, and any relationship often takes time to develop. You have to take time each day in starting a conversation. If you set up an ancestor altar or an altar dedicated to a specific deity, it's important to approach the altar not only when you want things, but just to build and continue a relationship with that ancestor or deity. So you might want to take 15 minutes each day to just sit in front of the altar and communicate. Do little things like say, "How was your day today?" and speak to them as if you were having a conversation with an old friend. But it does take time to develop a relationship, and sometimes ancestors will show up right away. Sometimes it'll take a while. So be patient. With the Rest and Rejuvenate card, it also encourages that continued meditation, practice, reflection, reconnection, honoring, respect, tradition, all of that. Now with the Shadow card, I'm reminded to say that it is highly advised that you not have an altar of any kind in your bedroom unless it's specifically for sex magic. Especially when it comes to communication with the spirits, because they can be very noisy, especially at night, and many people who have set up altars mistakenly in their bedroom or sleeping space have reported disrupted sleep patterns and reported that it was too noisy at night, because at night is when spirits are strongest and when they are going to want to be communicative with you. So do not put any altar in your sleeping space. It's highly advised that you put it in a dedicated space where it will not be disturbed. Your ancestors, the deities that you're wishing to build a relationship with, they can still communicate with you in dream state. But it won't be as loud and cacophonous if you don't have the altar in your sleeping space when you're trying to sleep at night. So put it somewhere else. Over time, as you build relationships with your ancestors and or deities of some kind, that is when you can start asking them for help in various ways. In root work and hoodoo traditions, they often call upon their own ancestors in order to get help from the spirit world, especially in hoodoo, because there isn't anything like orishas or Ifa in hoodoo. It is you call upon your ancestors and ask them for help directly. Maybe you might need some guidance on something, or you may need some answers on something. Ask them for that help. Be prepared to give an offering of some kind. Some people, even at this time, because the veil is thin right now, will go to cemeteries where their loved ones have been buried and speak with them at a graveyard They might collect, with the spirit's permission, some of the dirt from the graveyard to bring it home to continue that relationship. And they might leave behind an offering, be it flowers, which is very prevalent in Dia de los Muertos traditions. They will lay beautiful flower arrangements all over where the person is buried. They may bury $50, silver coins, something to leave as an offering. But with patience and planning and developing this relationship, you can start calling upon them for assistance. And you will be setting a firm foundation with them and building this continued relationship with them. I know for myself, and first couple of times it happened, I thought it was a coincidence, but now being who I am and knowing better, being older and wiser, I know that whenever someone I love passes away, they generally show themselves to me within the first few nights after, and sometimes for an extended period of time after as well. Sometimes to this day, when I'm upset or I'm hurting, I can feel my grandmother patting my head as I lay down to sleep. And she passed away a few years ago. So setting up these firm foundations to connect with your ancestors or with deities of some sort, you continue to feel their presence with you, and by integrating not only the physical world but the spirit world, you will start finding some sort of transformative process start to happen. But again, before you start any of this, make sure you protect the hell out of your home, your space, all of that, because you do not want things coming in. Because the moment that you open this communication and this portal per se, you have to make sure that you are not allowing for anything you do not want coming in, okay? I can't emphasize that enough, because especially for people who are just getting into this process, that is something that many people don't think of or don't realize is such an important step. And then, it's like with the people you hear have had bad experiences with spirit boards or divination processes. It's because y'all didn't protect your asses first. And now you got things that you didn't want showing up. If you don't know what you're doing, make sure you learn what you need to know before you go forward with it and just jump into it. Heed your intuition. If you sense that your ancestor or a deity of some sort wants to communicate with you or talk with you, they probably do. If you get suddenly pulled in a direction to put something like whiskey on the altar, or something on the altar that you may not have, that's probably a sign that your ancestor or the deity in question is requesting that. So you should probably either do it or go get it to do it. Pay attention to your dreams. If you are asking for help, write down your dreams and everything. Because sometimes when they communicate with you, it's often in dream state, because that's when our chakras are the most open to downloading information from ancestors and from deities. So it would behoove you to write down things when you wake up so that you can try to see if they answered what you were asking. Sometimes when you feel lost and confused, this process can really help you get guidance. Because remember, your ancestors will never mislead you. And it doesn't matter who they were in life. They could have been the biggest bastard on the face of the planet in life. But in death, they are by and large not going to be that way. Because for the most part, they have had an opportunity to look at how their behavior and their actions affected the people that they love in life. So if you need help or guidance and are feeling lost in some way, ask them to help you make decisions. Ask them to guide you on the way that you're meant to go down, or if you just need some sort of help in some way. They are going to help you. Okay? They will not want to see you fail. They will want to see you become prosperous and successful in life. You may feel sensations and tingling on your crown chakra. That's because your crown chakra will be opening up more in your intuition and your third eye as well. They can actually help you if you feel that someone is being deceptive to you. If you feel that something isn't quite right with a situation or with a person, ask them for guidance. Because remember, deities and ancestors have the unique ability to know and see things that we do not. Because the spirit world works very differently than the real world. And sometimes our intuition may be guiding us that something isn't quite right, but we can't put our finger on how or why or what is going on. So it never hurts to ask the ancestors to reveal to you how something or someone is not 100% genuine. I did that myself not long ago, and it became very apparent that someone that I was friendly with was not who they claim to be, and not who they profess to be. And it became readily apparent to not only myself but others that this person is a fraud, and they like to take other people's readings and represent them as their own, I guess you could say. So if you need that kind of assistance where you feel like something's just not quite right and you want help, ask for that. Your ancestors will never deceive you, but they will readily rip the wig right off of anyone who's trying to, okay? That mask will be gone, and you will start to see people exactly for who they are. You may not always like what you come to find out, so I'm going to forewarn you on that. But they will always help you. Throat chakra. You may find that in communicating with them, with speaking with them, even when it's not nighttime, you might feel them around you more and more. And it's perfectly normal to talk to them as if they're standing there in the room with you, because most likely they are. You know, sometimes I've had it happen where I'm at work, and thankfully the lab in which I work, I pretty much work in there alone. And sometimes I will find myself talking to spirits or communicating with them, and sometimes my coworkers will say, "Who are you talking to?" "Oh, myself." Because you don't really want to get into it, but, you know, speaking to them as if they're standing right there also helps you build that relationship, whether you're doing that meditative aspect or not. With emotional withdrawal, this is definitely a time for reverence. This is definitely a time for respect. This is definitely a time to talk with them or talk to them. Build this fruitful and abundant relationship with them. If you have things that you are worried about or you need, at the very least, to feel their love and support, ask them for that. If you've already started the process of building a relationship with them and you need financial assistance, now's the time to start those type of workings as well. If you're looking for a new job, if you are looking for financial assistance in any way, this is a pretty good time to start that. My one little thing with the Truth card is be prepared for blunt honesty. And remember that sometimes when you're looking for answers on something, you may not like what you find out. But also go in with the realization that even if you learn something you didn't want to learn, maybe if you find out some aspect that you didn't expect was there, know that it wouldn't come up if it wasn't for a very good reason. Many times people who work with their ancestors or with deities, especially around this time of the year, may unintentionally find out about ancestral traumas or cycles that may be there that they weren't previously aware of. But keep in mind, many times if the ancestors bring those things up, it's because they're saying, hey, these are mistakes that we made, or these are things that we endured. So if you're working on yourself, if you're working on shadow work or anything of that nature, you may also want to look here to heal from this. Because every single ancestor that you have, you carry their DNA and memories and things that they liked and didn't like are coded into the DNA that you carry. Sometimes things like behaviors or traumas that previous generations may have faced may get passed on through generation after generation after generation. And if you are the black sheep of your family, and if it is your duty to break that cycle and heal those generational traumas and heal those traumatic events, the only real way that you can do that is if you find out about them, even in unexpected ways. And try to look at this process as a beneficial one, as a positive one. Get excited about it. Get happy about being able to connect with your ancestors. Because they're always with you no matter what. And as much as we grieve them, as much as we may miss them, continuing a relationship with them can sometimes also have a cathartic and healing effect and allow us to not just remember them, but maybe heal some of the grief. It can help us on our path through life, and it can help us overcome any obstacles and challenges we may face. Okay? So, let me pull out one more deck. Let me ask, what messages do the ancestors and spirit guides have for us at this time? Almost done. Let chance play its creative role in your life. With this card, which is one I have never pulled out of this deck. I've used this deck many times. The loudest message I'm getting with this is allow yourself to be who you are. And that everything is going to be okay and work out. And sometimes it will happen in even the most unexpected of ways. Detox, cleanse and restore yourself. Tomorrow, well, we are already in the full moon energy. We have been for a few days now. Full moon is perfect time to release things you no longer want to have and release anything that does not help you. You might feel pulled to eat good foods or healthy foods at this time to give your body a sort of reset and recharge. Effervescence, cultivate love. Not just with the ancestors, not just with the deities, but with yourself as well. You are worthy of being happy and healthy and prosperous, and there is more than enough of everything in this world to go around for everyone. Minimus, perfect time to communicate with the source. The source is the universe. It is that all-encompassing energy, regardless of what you may call it. And source can absolutely even indicate your ancestors as well, because they are the beginning of you. So don't be afraid to ask for things at this time. Build that relationship. Liberation, free yourself. If you've been feeling particularly inhibited or trapped right now, now is the time to just let yourself be. Do the things that you feel that you've been wanting to do or feel you have been needing to do for quite some time. This is your sign. Samadhi, perfect acceptance. Accept yourself for who you are. Like I started with the mosaic, accept yourself. Accept that your ancestors were not perfect. Accept that even the deities are not perfect. Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone. Does not matter who you are. If you are Jesus Christ, if you are God on high, if it doesn't matter. Everyone makes mistakes. And it's important to accept that that happens. Boohoo, transform the way you see. This is definitely the perfect time to really open your mind and accept and start downloading information from the universe. You will be surprised at the way that that can completely change the way you see the world around you. Tangibility, make your dreams real. I know we're in Mercury in retrograde right now, so this isn't the time to start new projects, but that does not mean that you can't start making plans. Mercury in retrograde is almost over. It ends on November 3rd, which is also election day. Dear gods, help us all. Going out with a bang. But now is definitely the time to start putting plans into place. And so that when Mercury in retrograde is over, you can really start working on making your dreams reality. Bavaria, let love grow. And interesting how that card comes up as well as cultivate love. Not just for yourself, but with others as well. This is very much a lover's type card. If you are someone who deals with anxiety and stress and all of that kind of stuff, maybe you've been holding on to fears, fear of failure, fear of success, even fear of the future. If you've been letting your traumas or anything keep you from truly allowing yourself to love and be loved, free yourself. It takes time, it takes effort, and it's not something that happens overnight. But if this is something that you want, if you want these ancestral traumas broken, if you want your own traumas healed, if you want to see things for what they are and for reality, this is the time to put that energy out into the universe. Eunoia, everything in perfect balance. Shit is gonna happen, but whenever things get really bad, that means eventually it's gotta get really good too, okay? Try not to give up on that. Euphoria, honor yourself. Honoring your ancestors also honors yourself. Because like I keep saying, who they were is who you are today. Which the magic you seek is inside of you. Let it flow. If you've been struggling with self-acceptance or believing in yourself, this is your sign to acknowledge that you have the ability within you. You can do this. Orenda, honor your mystical creative force, which kind of goes back into the witch. Now there's actually a card that I want as the final card, but I don't know where it is in the deck. Give me a second. Oh, tell me. No. Where is it? I know that when I went through and I searched for it, but I feel it's something that needs to be said at this time. Be still and listen to the spirits phenomenon. Allow yourself to open up. Allow yourself to heed their guidance. So I hope this both educational and informational reading may have given you guys a little bit of assistance at this time, especially given tomorrow is Samhain. It is when the portal is and the veil is at its most thin. And remember, you are not alone. The blood of millions is within you. And who they are is part of you. So with all of that said, until next time, I hope you will have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you on Sunday with the manifestation moment for next week. Brightest blessings, and blessed be.